Okay, let's go ahead and get started with Chapter 11, Information Systems Management. And this will finish out the videos that I have shown you all. I have something special for you for the last chapter that will not be taken from me, but from somebody else that I want to show you all. It's been entertaining to talk to you all. I hope you got something out of here. I tried to expose some of the information I've worked with in my career. But we'll get back to the information now for this right now. So what are the functions and organization of the IS department? I've worked in many IS departments before, and I've also had departments report to me. So I've had a chance to work on both sides of the desk, and hopefully I'll relay that to you. How do organizations use IS, advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing? I don't know of any IS section that has not outsourced at least something. But we will go into that and your rights and responsibilities on this. First questions are the functions and organization. I have a organizational chart that I'll show you in a minute, but relationships are everything. Everyone depends on the IS. This can cause you to become, if you're an IS department, it can cause you to kind of throw yourself or to be very non-humble, to be, I'm looking for a word, but it can cause you to brag about what you do because other departments depend on you. And I want to encourage you to be careful about that if they do that. Now, if they report to you, and depending on your major, they will report to you in some form in your life, then you need to be careful that you use them and use them correctly. How's it organized? Well, start off with a COO or CEO up here, have an HR and legal. Then you have a CIO. And the CIO then would typically be in charge of the information systems. All of this right here would fall under the CIO. So CIO's got quite a job. Now I will tell you that the CIO may have the same authority or even more authority than the CEO. Depending on the organization. This is a very important job right here. It's a well-paying job too. So I would you can see the different things that happen down here that go through that right there. What positions exist? A lot. This is the first of a couple of slides. And I'll let you read this for a second. And then all the way down here, I've been a network administrator. I've been let's see, what have I done? I've been a systems analyst. I've been a programmer. And now I do a little bit of consulting. Not much anymore, but I do a little bit of consulting. I've never done anything else. I've done some project management, but not anything to call myself a project manager on this. I have been an IT manager, and I have not been a database administrator, and I've not been a BI analyst. Back when I was working in this, BI analysts did not exist. So this is where this is going right now. And I've carried the same authority as a CTO, but I've never been a CTO itself, or a CIO, or a Chief Security Officer. This is usually for large business, and I have not worked in large business, anything larger than about, I think the largest company I've worked for has been about 500 employees outside of the military. So not a terribly large company for this right now. Salaries, IS pays well. This is old pay. You can see the baseline right here. You can see what everything is paid right here, and this is old pay. It pays better than this right now. How do organizations plan the use of information systems? They very carefully. They try to align themselves with the organizational strategy. That would be the purpose of the CIO or the CTO would cause that to continue to a line right here. This is important for you all to know. This is a little case right here. I don't want to spend any time talking about it, but I will pull it apart just a little bit. If you're a manager, information will help you know the employee's behavior. You need to understand this right here. James decided to use an offshore contractor. Would that influence your assessment of James? Well, I hope not, because this offshore contractor may be required to get the job done and get it done right. That probably doesn't work all the time on this right now. Is James right for the job? I don't know. There's not enough information in here to say with resourcing, but this is dependent upon how this is set up and how this is going to be used. The advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing. Obviously, you can probably hire expertise that may or may not be in the company, but at least it's out there. You can use outsourcing once or twice and then never again, or you can use them all the time. But you do save money when you outsource. It's never good to unless you're going to. Let me give you, for instance, at a previous job that I worked at, we used to outsource our truck maintenance. It was a utility company that had lots of trucks. We would outsource that. That's very expensive. Sometimes $200,000 and $300,000 a year to maintain a fleet of maybe 20 trucks. So I had to consider that, and on what I was paying for everything. It looks like every job that was out there was a couple $1,000s. So I made the decision to hire a mechanic. And the guy I hired, I wanted him to oversee more than just be a mechanic. Otherwise, you need to hire, a couple of mechanics and a boss and everything. So I hired a guy that was doing aircraft maintenance. And you may think, well, what do aircraft and trucks have to do together? Well, maintenance is maintenance, and engines are engines, and hydraulics are hydraulics, and so on and so forth. So I hired this guy. Made good money, I think, with I forgot now what his pay was, but I will say with salary and benefits was probably $70 a year. So he took a little pay cut to come work, but he worked for the city, and his benefits were much better than working for what he did before. Worked out well. He was able, by the third year we had him, we had saved about $200,000. So not only did we save his salary, we've saved his salary and a couple other people's salary. So you need to really be smart about outsourcing. More time needs to be put into it than just saying, well, we're going to do it like this. Popular reasons for outsourcing IS services. We have mentioned this already. I'll let you look at this. Risk reduction. Again, somebody else is doing this right now. International. You can say what you want about taking jobs out of America. You can say that you can get cheaper help in India and China. Yeah, for certain things you can. But now look and see what you're giving up. So again, the purpose of this chapter is not to debate whether you outsource international, but the purpose of even outsourcing. So you'd have to look at this to see. What are some outsourcing alternatives? Well, you can do it in-house. You can do everything yourselves. You can outsource procedures, data, software, hardware, everything else. Some of the risk, you lose control. You look at long-term cost, much like leasing a car. If you buy a car, then once it's paid for, then you own the car. You make no other payments except for maintenance and gas and oil and stuff. But if you lease a car, you're paying for it forever. Alternatives: you keep a newer car. Before it has a chance to something break, you turn it back in and let it break and get something new. So lots of pros and cons right here. More of the benefits outweighed by the long-term cost. vendor de facto sole source, which means if you are if you have a specialized vehicle, like say a Porsche, then you probably want to take your car to a Porsche dealer. And Porsche dealers, having been the proud owner of a Porsche many years ago, Porsche dealers are expensive and they charge a lot of money. So you have to kind of look at all of this to see what makes sense based on the long-term engineering economic analysis. What are your IS rights and responsibilities? I'll let you read this for a second. And now the next slide, responsibility to learn all of this right now. It's a lot. And again, IS people, I think pound for pound, I think IS people make a little more money than other people. Whether you're teaching or whether you're working in the job, and mainly because you have to continually keep yourself upgraded and current. You know, I could be wrong. I've been at IS my entire life, so I don't know anything else other than that. But I can, you know, when I've looked at salary, and we've looked at that already, but if I look at salaries across the board for IS jobs, they seem to be a little bit higher than they are for other business type jobs. But again, you have to be able to keep yourself current and updated and stay in school. So knowledge in this chapter right now, I hope you know the responsibilities or the primary responsibilities of an IS department, kind of where it fits in the big scheme of things. How do they plan, outsourcing or not outsourcing? Book gets in a little more detail than what I did. The kind of work that must be done and advantages for doing all of this right now, responsibilities and knowing what the IS department expects of you. Ethic dilemma, restricting mobile devices to improve productivity. I can say something on that. If you know, in education it's one thing, but if I had a company, I would not allow the use of mobile devices while a person is on the job. That would be a hard and fast rule of mine. Put your cell phones up when you come to work, and you can take them out when you leave. If you want to take them out during this, I try to look back at the same thing before the days of cell phones. Before the days of cell phones, the only telephone calls that were made were the ones that were while people were on a legitimate break or if an emergency came in. So I would say, with my company, I would say give people, in fact, I would go as far as to say that if you have a cell phone, that you place it in your locker, a company provided locker, secure locker, while you're at work. And then when you go on break or you take a lunch or you go home, then you can retrieve your stuff from the locker. If there's an emergency that comes in, I would say you contact, have your significant other contact the company and say there's an emergency, and then they come and get you, and then you can go get your cell phone, or you can take and go to the house or whatever you're going to do. Company security, and that's the biggest reason that I would be nervous about people using cell phones today. Like if I had an IT company, I don't want pictures to be sent outside of my network. I don't want data theft or malware or anything else. You get somebody that's got a beef against the company and they send stuff out and it doesn't work out well at all. So I would say no cell phones on the company, period. Is it ethical for a company to control devices employees purchase? Well, while you're working for me and I'm paying you, then yes it is. I think it is. You may not, but I think it is. I think it's unethical for people to use devices to rob the company of the company time. That's what I think. Outsourcing fool's gold? No. Not unless you outsource the wrong people and don't do a good job of investigating and doing everything that you're supposed to do. So, active review, the functions and organizations of the IS department. Again, I think you know where they fit in. How do they plan the use of information systems carefully and strategically? the advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing. We've talked about that in a couple of chapters now. You should know those right now. Responsibilities for what you have, the user's rights and responsibilities. You know, and I would say in an employee manual it would dictate the use of company-owned equipment or employee-owned equipment. I think you need to conform to the rules and regulations or find another job. Those are just my thoughts. That's all I have for you in this chapter. Have a nice day. I've enjoyed working with you all over this semester behind the scenes. Again, several questions will be pulled out of these chapters and put on your midterm and final. Good day.